If you follow my channel at all, you know that I put a video out about 2 months ago comparing the Mini 4 Pro with the Air 3S as to who's the better travel drone to bring along with me. And there were some things that the Mini 4 Pro did that I just couldn't live with, and the Air 3S outshined it. But today I've got the brand new Mini 5 Pro by DJI, and I am going to be running the same test to see if indeed this new little masterpiece captures all the things that I needed to capture on my trips. Starting with this shot here, this is testing the dynamic range with this sunrise. If you're new here, I'm the Jaunting Ape, and welcome to my channel. DJI is definitely one of the most advanced companies when it comes to marketing and getting us to buy their upgrades. From the Mini 3 Pro to the Mini 4 Pro, for me it was the sideways obstacle avoidance, and now for the Mini 4 Pro to the Mini 5 Pro, it is definitely the 1-inch sensor, but there is quite a few other things, including the stability that I have when I am flying a time lapse. And that's what we're gonna start with right here. Okay, for this next test, I got a couple of things I wanna do a side-by-side on. It's kind of a special night tonight because, well, there's a sunset that happens every night, but it's the first supermoon of 2025. I guess it's the Hunter's moon. I'm hoping I'll be able to do a lapse all the way around these trees, catching the sunset, and then when it comes around the other side, I should be able to see the moon. And this is gonna tell me which one of these drones has the better battery, which one flies longer, which one is able to capture this hyperlapse, the whole circle around the trees, as well as the stability. It's a little bit breezy, it's not bad. I'd say it's probably about 15 kilometers an hour. So it shouldn't affect either drone too bad. But we're gonna check that out. And it's also gonna give me some drained batteries so I can do my other test. I wanna see the difference in speed of battery testing. I'm getting closer and closer to my travel days here, and I'm starting to see that I don't really have enough room to bring both the drones. So I got both of these suckers ready to fly. I slapped ND8 filters on both of them. The sunset is a little tricky, especially trying to get the moon. And I suppose this is as good as time as any to see which one fires up quicker. So, here we go. Both fired up pretty much the same time. 23 on the point updated. There, Air 3S wins. 48 seconds. And the Mini 5 is still kicking at 15 satellites here. Point updated. 56 seconds, so about 8 seconds quicker for the Air 3S. Super. 6:19, that's 6 minutes until sunset here. So I'm gonna send the little guy out. It's got the stronger battery, so. And now for Big Hoss, it's 6:24, so this is exactly 5 minutes later. This guy's been giving me some grief with stalling on the time lapses. It just thinks it sees an obstacle in the low lights. So I'm hoping that is a thing of the past. I had these settings on both drones exactly the same at 0.1 meters a second on the circle lapse. And the first thing I noticed is that the Air 3S is moving a little bit faster than the Mini 5 Pro. And the next thing I noticed is that the Mini 5 Pro actually seems a little bit more stable. And lastly, to note, the colors are a little bit different. Perhaps this has something to do with the 5 minutes later flight and the setting sun. Watch out for the light pole. I'll get ya. Oh, that's pretty good. 30 minutes of hyperlapse. Couldn't make the 30 seconds that I asked for. This little guy is gonna make it. That's pretty sweet. Here comes the little sucker. Seems a bit lost. Landing. That's not where I launched it. Landing. I'm not quite used to catching this guy. It sits a little bit cockeyed. So 38 minutes for the little guy and 30 minutes even for the Air 3S. I don't know what this thing was doing on the return to home. It was a little bit lost. I'd say it was about 3 or 4 meters off where the Air 3S came right home. So now I got one more hyperlapse test to do, and that is the dead-on course lock. So instead of going into the sunset like I usually do, I'm gonna go with the sunset and into the golden hour over the autumn leaves. It looks pretty cool, and then hopefully catch that Hunter's moon coming up, the super moon. So similar results with this one. I do prefer the Mini 5 Pro slightly. It is a little more stable again. You'll notice a slight jaunt here with the Air 3S right there, and that is the obstacle avoidance stopping the hyperlapse, and you got to restart it. So how about that? The Air 3S is doing its Air 3S things. This has been a problem. I don't know if anyone else is having this problem, but on these hyperlapses, it likes to think that it sees something and stop all the friggin' time. If you have one of these Air 3Ss, I'd like to know if the hyperlapse is giving you guys this kind of problem that I'm getting, because it really is driving me nuts and there's nothing that I can do about it. I hope that it is just me and it's not happening to everybody, because it's a bad problem to have.
Hyperlapse is ready to complete.
So one of them is done here. That is the Mini 5 Pro.
Aircraft will return to the home point in 10 seconds.
There we go. I don't know what the drone's doing. It's flying all around. It's gonna land way over there. That's nowhere near. It just about crashed. It's gonna crash. I don't know why it would go over there. That is not home. That's twice now it's buggered me on this.
Landing.
That is so crazy. I don't know, that's way over there. I hand launched it right here. I don't know what it was doing over there. I'm really surprised it didn't crash into those trees. I wonder if the Air 3S is gonna get stupid too. It's drawing a nice little map. It's coming right back to us here.
Approached edge of altitude zone.
Yeah, it's going right to where I launched it, so that's perfect. I don't know why the Mini 5 was getting so stupid there.
Landing.
So that's crazy. The Mini 5 is a little bit slow, and this guy returns to home pretty good. So the Mini 5 way outdoes the Mini 4 Pro with a time-lapse stability and how it all looks compared to the Air 3S. Now that was one of the major drags from why I didn't want to bring the Mini 4 along with me. But there's another reason where the Air 3S really kicked the butt off of the Mini 4, and that was with the 3x optical zoom lens. Now the Mini 5 has this 2x digital crop that it does, and the point of these lenses, at least for me, is to get that parallax look. The big depth on the image, it really blows up the background and makes it feel like you're really there. So here's a look at the true 3x zoom on the Air 3S around this handsome spruce tree, and here is what it looks like on the Mini 5 Pro. The Mini 5 Pro has this neat little thing where it likes to zoom in from the 1x crop, which is neat, but it does have this strange little jitter at the end, which can be not so easy on the eyes. So looking at the two side by side, I say the Air 3S wins all darn day, but this is quite a sweet little feature, and to get a 3x crop off that 4K sensor, I think is wild that it does look this good, and I am pleased with the results. Okay, this next chapter in the video, we're going to get a bunch of birds stoned at once. What I'm gonna do is run all of this in the vertical video, which the Mini 5 does a 4K and the Air 3S does a 2.7K. And what's interesting about these is that the Air 3S is cropping in on the full sensor. So when you look at the screen recording, you can see that it is actually using a bigger part of the sensor and it's showing you it on the screen. But you can't actually record that whole sensor. You're either doing the 9/16 or the 16:9, and you can't have both and crop later. That really bugs me. I think that's something they're going to be changing on their next drones, and that's part of their marketing scheme, I'm sure, because I will be one of the people to buy the drones if that's the case. The other thing is, when you are shooting in 2.7K on the Air 3S, the slow motion is cut to 60 frames per second, whereas on the Mini 5 Pro, you can still get that true 120 frames per second. So check it out here, side by side. I much prefer the vertical slow motion of the Mini 5 Pro. And from here, we're going to jump into the subject tracking, specifically moving vehicles, because I shoot myself all the time with moving vehicles when I'm traveling. And one of the problems I had with the Mini 4 Pro is that it really didn't keep up very good, and the locking and tracking just wasn't very good at all. In all my tests on the other video with the Air 3S versus the Mini 4 Pro, it just did a bunch of scrambling and dandling things, and this Mini 5 Pro has proved to be pretty good so far. And I even maxed out its obstacle avoidance here the other day, which was insane. I wish I would have been screen recording, but I wasn't. Live and learn. But look what it did here. This is crazy. This was my first test with the Mini 5 Pro, and it went from 40 kilometers to 0 in an instant in those tiny little branches. Now here's a good side-by-side comparison of the vertical video between the two drones, Mini 5 on the right and the Air 3S on the left. And I'll add in the screenshots here to show you at which speeds the tracking gives up. So on the left side, you're gonna see the Air 3S is going to hit just over 45 kilometers an hour before it brakes a little bit. And then shortly after on the right, the Mini 5 hits about 44 kilometers per hour before it brakes. There is one more side-by-side test that people might be interested in. Me, not a whole bunch, but I guess, yes, I live on a farm here. My closest neighbor is about 2 miles away. So low light isn't really a big thing for me. There's no lights. I don't even have a yard light here. So at night, the only lights that shine are the big green lights in the sky, and this is how the two stack up against each other. I am working on another video right now on how to capture the northern lights like this, so check that out. If it's not up in the top corner here, it will be out shortly. Wind. Oh man, I set everything up last night for the size and weight and portability comparison, and I was a little bit bummed out that I never had in the last 2 weeks here any big wind to do a test on, but here I wake up to this morning. So we've got about a 45 to 50 kilometer an hour wind, and we are going to fly them side by side here around my cozy little cabin and test out the normal versus the zoom on both of these and see how stable they are flying. So as it turns out, it was the perfect day to finish this off on the inside stuff. So one of the biggest things about deciding which one of these drones is right for you to take traveling is the portability and the sheer size and weight. So this little sucker weighs right around 300 grams with the Fly More Plus battery in it. That gets me that extended flight time, whereas this beast is quite a bit heavier, coming in at somewhere around 730 grams, I believe. Now weight is one thing, but another problem is the footprint. So when we look at the two bags side by side here, you'll notice that the Mini 5 bag is a little bit thicker than the Air 3S. The Air 3S sits a little bit taller, but when you lay them down, it is a little bit thicker. This Mini 5 bag is overkill, which I really like for flying around home here, but when I'm trying to pack it into a backpack to bring on an airplane, the size seems to be a little overkill. You can actually fit the Mini 4 Pro along in here with its batteries and everything. So that might be something that I end up doing, is taking the Mini 4 along with the Mini 5. But when it comes down to weight, the Mini 5 Fly More Plus entire kit with everything in it weighs around 1,600 grams versus the whole kit with the Air 3S weighing in at around 2,500 and change, something like that. So quite a bit heavier and a little bit more of a footprint. Now, one of the things that I was thinking of doing was bringing the Mini 4, which I have right over here. This kit fits perfectly in my backpack, and if you look at the size difference between these two, the Mini 4 is quite a bit smaller, and you can fit all of the Mini 5 kit into the Mini 4 kit, no problem. So if I'm gonna take just the Mini 5, I'm gonna swap it over to the Mini 4 bag, and if I'm planning to bring the Mini 4, which I haven't quite decided, I'm going to be putting both the drones into this Mini 5 Pro bag. Let's talk about the batteries here. The Mini 5 Pro batteries are fair bit smaller than the Air 3S. They are about twice the weight in the Air 3S and about twice the footprint. Flight time with the Mini 5 Fly More Plus was right around 8 to 10 minutes longer consistently than the Air 3S, and the charge time when using a 65 watt charger. I've got here the 100 watt charger and the 65 watt charger, and the 65 watt charger will juice up one of these Fly More Plus batteries on the Mini 5 in around 40 minutes. Now that's not from dead, that's from it's coming home because it's gonna die dead. The same charger, the 65 watt charger, will charge one of the Air 3S batteries in more like 70 minutes. So that is quite a bit longer than the Mini 5 Pro. And it's a good thing to note that that is charging through these hubs. They charge quite a bit faster through the hubs than they do through plugging the drone in itself. Now there is the 100 watt charger, which will bring the speed of charging up on the Air 3S down to somewhere around 60, just under 60 minutes is what I found through this charging hub. I believe it charges at 80 watts. But the footprint of this charger is a little bit bigger than this one, and it's a lot heavier. So it's, to me, I'm not going to be bringing this along. I've also got a 65 watt car charger. Now there was a couple of other things I wanted to note about the new design on the Mini 5 Pro, and that is the spectacular way that you can fold this drone up any which way. It doesn't matter how you fold or unfold it, it'll just take it, whereas the Air 3S, you have to fold the straight arms first. Now this seems pretty simple and maybe I should be able to do it, but it is something that I have struggled with, and it seems like 50% of the time I'm doing the wrong way. Both the drones have 42 gigabytes of built-in storage, which is just a whole leap ahead of the Mini 4, which only had 2 gigabytes. And one of my favorite parts of the new design is that you can pull the batteries out on this Mini 5 even with the gimbal protector on and the wings folded in. It just works. That is not something I could do with the Mini 4, and it is not something I can do with this Air 3S. Once you have it folded up and the gimbal protector's on, you can't get in there. You have to open it up to get the batteries out. So while that may not seem like a big deal, it's been very inconvenient for me, especially when the drone is tucked away in its little bag like this, and I can just reach in and pop the battery out and pop a new battery in. Very convenient. So my takeaways from all the testing that I've done is that I am indeed going to be bringing this Mini 5 Pro along with me traveling, and this big T-Rex is going to be spending the winter off. I was very pleased with the way that this thing performed throughout all of the tests that I did. Up until the wind test, I was very worried that it wasn't going to be able to handle the winds. And for me, that is a huge deal, because when you're traveling and moving around, you often only get one chance to shoot wherever you're shooting. And it seems like when you're coastal, and there's lots of times that the wind is just very strong. I did not receive even one warning from this guy, whereas I probably would have with the Mini 4 Pro. And I definitely would have seen some fluttering in the video playback on the Mini 4. So that's my little rant on these two drones. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you thought that you might have learned something today. And if it maybe persuade you to make a purchase, feel free to check out the links below. It doesn't cost you anything else, and it's a really good way to help the channel grow. Now, with this weather coming, I am sure glad that I've got 40 days booked to the land of smiles, and I'm taking this guy with me. I'm the Jaunting Ape. Keep on jaunting, and the world is yours.